On this episode of Mom Sipping Sangria,
very natural to crave highly palatable foods, including those ones rich in carbohydrates and sugar, especially when we're under a lot of stress, which we are right now.
I'm good. Let's do it.
Well, hello.
Sorry, can you go down? You sounded like wah, wah, wah.
Hello. Is that better? Welcome to another episode of Mom Sipping Sangria. I'm Sheila Walsh. Anita thought I said that kind of weird.
It was just a little wah, 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 you know? And I'm Anita Reynolds MacArthur, sipping some leftover Mother's Day white wine sangria here in the East End.
Yes, happy belated Mother's Day to you, Anita. This sangria is really nice and light. And the best part is you don't have to be a mom to enjoy it. And you don't even have to enjoy alcohol to enjoy it, because you can easily substitute a bottle of, regular white wine with a bottle of non-alcoholic wine to make it a virgin sangria. You see what we did there? Yeah. So check out our website for this recipe, momsippingsangria.com, and all the recipes we have for sangrias. So Anita, funny thing happened to me. Nice weather, pulled out some spring clothes, and didn't someone shrink them all on me when I wasn't paying attention?
Oh, Sheila, you're not alone. And you know what? This affects guys too, kids. I think all of us are kind of feeling that, eh?
Yeah.
Well, lucky for us, we have a guest joining us who actually doesn't want us to be too hard on ourselves for indulging in, comfort food and comfort treats during these stressful times like these COVID days.
I like her already.
Cheryl Strachan is a registered dietitian who specializes in cardiac nutrition and wellness. She is also the author of a new cookbook. Cheryl believes the most heart-healthy way of eating is one that doesn't stress you out. It's about health, not weight loss.
Hi, Cheryl, and welcome to Mom Sipping Sangria.
Hello. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, we're so glad we could talk to you in Calgary, where it's kind of cold, you were saying. Before we get into all the questions about, eating and stress eating, etc., we want to know a little bit about you and your practice over there in Calgary.
Sure. Well, I've been a dietitian now for about 15 years, and as you said, I specialize in cardiac health. The first 9 years as a dietitian, I was at Calgary's cardiac rehab program, and I still work there sometimes. But 6 years ago, started a private practice so that I could do more prevention versus management of heart problems, sort of before the cow is out the barn door, so to speak. And as you say, I practice a non-diet approach. So I believe health, at least the aspects that we can control, is more about what you do than what you weigh.
That's so refreshing, isn't it?
I think so. It's like Stephen Covey said, you have to focus on what you can control, your circle of control, and we can control what we do, but our bodies, they kind of have a mind of their own when it comes to weight.
I'll say. In a recent interview, you said we shouldn't blame or shame snacking on fave treats as we ride out this pandemic, and you talk about how important it is to have self-compassion right now. Can you explain?
Sure. Self-compassion is a good idea always, but in particular, when we have guilt or feelings of shame or anger around food, it may just actually perpetuate emotional eating. So it's a bit counterproductive in that respect. So I always like to have people back up and look at the big picture. And while we know certain patterns of eating can set us up for certain health problems, there's no one food that is bad. And you certainly aren't bad for eating this. And not everybody works this way, but I do certainly hear it in my private practice. People say, I was bad this weekend. Like, did you rob a bank? Let's keep it in big picture, right? You're not bad for eating chocolate. I want to take it a step further. And, people assume that emotional eating is problematic, but I like to challenge that. For some people, it may be quite beneficial. If it's a coping strategy, I'm just glad people are coping.
Right. And you're talking specifically in this time, or just outside of the pandemic, just in a stressful time, that is a coping mechanism that we shouldn't be too hard on ourselves for, or specifically to this time?
Both. Certainly at this time, we all have much greater stressors to cope with. But there are other benefits, right? Maybe it's bringing you a personal connection if you're baking with your kids or someone else that you're living with. If it's bringing you pleasure in a day when we don't normally have the things that bring us a lot of pleasure. We can't go for a massage. We can't go listen to live music. Maybe that's what we need to keep our mental health intact. And, at some point, I think some people may realize, okay, this is now no longer serving me. Just trust yourself to know when that is, when maybe those benefits are overshadowed by some of the, maybe you don't feel as well with the way you're eating, or if the eating is making you feel upset or out of control. Maybe at that point you say, I need to rein this in a little bit. But there are benefits, as well as automatically people assume that it's a bad thing, right?
We have this love-hate with food, and you're saying trust yourself that you're going to love it now, and then you're going to back away and have a different relationship with it.
I think just trust yourself to know when it's too much. If you feel like you're eating bread and it tastes good and you don't feel like it's too much, then that's fine. But at some point, I know I had one of those days yesterday where I made a bread pudding for breakfast just to use up some of the leftover bread heels, and then the kids made pancakes. By lunch, I was feeling half asleep, and I was like, okay, I need to shift gears here. And if you come to that decision yourself, it's almost better than having someone else, a dietitian or someone else external, tell you what to do, because that brings out the inner rebel in all of us, right?
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
So why do we crave the carb and carb sugar beast?
So it's very natural to crave highly palatable foods, including those ones rich in carbohydrates and sugar, especially when we're under a lot of stress, which we are right now, right? It's a natural response to the stress hormone cortisol. But just in general, we're sort of biologically wired to find eating pleasurable. So, when we're feeling a lot of unpleasant feelings, grief, worry, sadness, as we are right now, it's really natural to reach for food, which can honestly make us feel better in the moment, at least. And ideally, there are some ways we can do it so that perhaps it makes us feel better more than just in the moment.
Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah. I mean, a bag of chips, for example, might taste great in the moment, but, depending on how much you have, you might feel kind of not as good later. So just using the comfort food we crave without binge eating. And one of the things I'll have people do is let's think about the foods that bring comfort to you, but also bring nutrition. Peanut butter with banana. Classic combination of comfort food, right? Cheesy eggs. My neighbor used to make cheesy eggs for me and my kids when I was pregnant, and we've always kind of brought that back in when we, want to have a really satisfying but simple breakfast. Eggs with lots of cheese grated into them. Or, if you're making something like brownies, add some walnuts. If you're making chocolate chip cookies, add chickpeas. Can you bring some nutrition in to the comfort foods?
That's really smart, because then you're not feeling as guilty. In fact, we had a recipe here that we just tried, Fiber One cereal. It was a muffin with, yogurt and cane sugar and maybe a couple of chocolate chips. But the kids loved it, and they have been begging me to make more and more of them. And I thought, really? This is a super healthy food. So you never know. I guess the lesson learned here is just try the healthy stuff. It doesn't have to always taste bad, right?
Yeah, that's kind of the ideal, if you can get to something where you do find it pleasurable to eat and satisfying, but it also is providing you with a bit of nutrition. And one way to look at that is lower glycemic index, grains and starches. And, you ask about carbohydrates. And it looks like the ones that are lower glycemic index, things like oats and barley and sweet potato, they keep your blood sugar stable for longer. So you don't get that initial spike and then the kind of crash and feeling awful later on. So if you can reach for the lower glycemic index ones, you may find that good feeling lasts a little bit longer.
Okay. Well, these are some great tips, Cheryl. Thank you so much. In response to COVID-19, you and a friend just launched a free initiative called Well at Home. Can you tell us a bit about it?
Sure, yeah. My friend Kristen Hall, fellow dietitian and health coach, she and I were kind of talking about how we could help people, how we could do our part to contribute during this time. So we came up with this idea, and it has three components. So one is we're doing a weekly 30-minute live session where we're teaching either about food or nutrition or doing some kind of health coaching. Something short and sweet, once a week, bite-sized for people to take away. And then we're sending out weekly goal-setting prompts on the same day, which is Monday, just to encourage people to kind of reflect on what has worked for them in the past week, health-wise, and what they want to focus on for the week ahead. And then we started a private Facebook group just for the people to come together and create a supportive community to support each other. The people who want to eat well and want to be well during this. And I know it's not a priority for everybody. Not everybody's in that place. But for those who are, it's kind of nice to have a setting where you can talk about ideas in a really non-diet, non-weight focused way, just kind of focusing on mental and physical wellness. People keep joining, so that's great.
Well,
we're happy to do it.
People are obviously kind of looking for answers to these questions and that support.
Yeah, so we're doing it Mondays at 1 p.m. Mountain, so it would be 3 p.m. Eastern time.
Cool. And is there anything else that people should keep in mind? I mean, you covered so many things. Just be kind to yourself, trust yourself. It's okay to binge every so often during stressful times. Have a better relationship with food. Try to eat lower glycemic carbs if you can. What are we missing? What else do you want to tell people about just eating and stress eating and emotional eating, or just eating in general?
Good question. I think I would just remind people, if you have emotional eating as one of your tools in your kind of stress management toolbox, make sure there are other tools in there, right? The things that everybody's talking about, walking, getting out and, connecting with friends as much as is possible, at least given the circumstances, and whatever else you love to do, right? Listening to music, meditation. I sometimes ask in my counseling sessions, I ask people, what do you do to nurture yourself? And often get a blank stare, or even sometimes someone will start to cry, right? That's not a priority, especially for most moms. We're taking care of everybody else around us, right? So really think about, and this is harder for us right now, but what brings you joy? And if you have, not got a lot of things, then of course it's really easy, and you're going to be reaching for food perhaps more than you want to. So just making sure you've got lots of different coping tools. But when you go to food as a coping tool, that's okay, right? No guilt, no perfection required.
Yeah, you make a lot of sense. Yep.
That's the goal. On a good day, right?
On a good day, for sure. I just want to take a moment to congratulate you. You've recently published a cookbook, 30-Minute Heart Healthy Cookbook. Where can people find it? Also, where can we find you?
Thanks. Yeah, the book is online, so Amazon, and also Chapters, I think, right now, which is a faster place, from what I understand, to order things from these days. And online, I'm at sweetspotnutrition.ca. You can look up Sweet Spot Nutrition on Facebook. And I'm on Twitter and Instagram, altogether too much, at Sweet Spot RD is my handle for both of those.
Cool. Cheryl Strachan, thank you so much for your time today. Stay safe and well, and we'll look forward to what's next for you, especially those Monday sessions.
Thanks, and happy eating. Take care of yourself.
Okay, Anita, vent or compliment time, where we either raise a glass or take a pass on something, someone. What are you picking this week? Toast or toss?
I'm actually going to toss.
Okay.
And I'm going to toss myself. So I'm going to take a pass at moi.
What did you do to so poorly disappoint yourself?
Oh, Sheila. Okay, so, the kids are, they're home now. They're learning from home. And so Hayden had to do an outline for an essay. And when he told me what the essay was, I was like, oh, wait a minute. I think Ava may have done that a couple of years ago. Why don't we dig it up and you can use it for inspiration? Now, notice I said inspiration, but to a 15-year-old boy, inspiration means use it verbatim.
Like plagiarize.
Yeah. So we find it, and he's looking at the outline, and I said, now make sure you change up some of the words in that, right? And he's like, yep, I'm going to do that. And of course he didn't. So when it came time to send it in, we use this program, the school uses this program, and they've used it for a few years, and it's called Turn It In.
I'm very well aware of it.
Yes. Yes, so Turn It In, for those who may not know, it'll tabulate it, and it'll say in a percentage how much has been plagiarized. And it'll ask you, do you still want to upload? In other words, you still want it to go to your teacher. In my mind, that percentage is always related to things that they've seen on other websites, or, if you're doing research and those kind of things come up. Well, we found out that it also includes other people's past essays. So, of course, it comes back at, something ridiculous, like 65% plagiarized. And, of course, it has to be submitted by midnight, and it's now 10:30. So he freaks out and he goes to Ava. So she tries to help him out, blah, blah, blah. Gets down to 40% when she submits the second time. Now, you only have 3 tries to submit, and then you're done. So now I think we have 20 minutes to midnight, and he gives it to me. Thank God I'm an editor. And he's like, Mom, help me. And I'm like, what have you done? Furiously work at it, got it down to a percentage that is in the green. And we just, within 5 minutes, were able to submit. We were all just like, what the hell just happened? So I'm putting that on me. I'm putting it on him, but I'm also putting it on me. Learn my lesson. These kids need to start their stuff from scratch. They don't need to go and look at someone else's work to spawn their ideas.
All right. So you're tossing yourself. I can appreciate that.
Okay. So are you going to toss or cheers?
I'm going to cheers. I'm going to toast a couple of things. I want to toast my son, Miles, who turned 19. He's a 19-year-old.
19.
So I want to toast him. And, we're going for walks. I run into a neighbor who lives down the street. He's a police officer, and his wife is either like a nurse or a PSW, personal support worker. So they're both frontline. She's on a COVID floor. We're catching up with him, and he's talking about it. Mm-hmm. And we said, well, you know what? You guys stay safe. Thanks for everything you're doing. He's like, yeah, listen, if you need anything, you know where to find us. We'll be there for you. And I thought, you're already there for us. What do you mean? And I almost like wanted to give him a hug. Obviously you can't, but I thought, you're already doing your part, and you're telling people who aren't near as involved as you that, you're still willing to give more. And I just want to toast him and his wife and everybody who does that, because really, like, the best in humanity is coming out during this pandemic. And I just want to acknowledge that, because I think that's really important. So to Tim and Jackie, to Miles, we'll toast, and then we'll pour the sangria over your head, right?
Totally deserving all around.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, it's time to break out the Bazaar. This is where Anita and I search for a really bizarre story and spring it on each other right here, right now for the first time, usually leading to the thought, seriously?
Seriously. So yes, this time it's your turn, Sheila.
It is, Anita. Okay. Well, Anita, there was a lot to choose from this time. There was a talk show guy in the States who said he'd resort to eating his neighbors if the pandemic kept up.
Ew.
And there was a food shortage, but that was the gist of it. So I thought, no. And then there was the story about the Kentucky Derby racing turtles instead of horses. But, how far could you go with that one? So I opted for this gem out of Sweden, okay?
Okay.
City of Lund, I think it is. City of Lund draws annual crowds of tens of thousands each year to celebrate a popular holiday called Walpurgis Night. It's a spring festival that has its roots in pagan tradition. So during the pandemic, as we know, large gatherings are not permitted. So officials in Lund needed to ensure that crowds would stay away from the park where people would normally gather for this celebration. So guess what the officials did?
What did the officials do?
They dumped more than a ton of chicken poop in the park.
Ew!
Yeah. But because they're Swedish and they're about the environment and they're so smart, they work two angles here, right? Chicken poop would fertilize the lawns, and it would stink so badly that people would dare not to gather. So that's the story. And when I was looking for it, I'm going to add to it. I came upon this story from a blog called Barf Blog.
Aptly named. Perfect.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's one way of doing it. And then, at least they are fertilizing. They're not wrong there.
I know Ian's a huge Van Halen guy. Greg is a huge Pearl Jam guy. If those bands played in a park filled with chicken poop, do you think our guys would still go?
I have to say for that, Ian would take a pass. He wouldn't go.
I think Greg would go right front and center.
Really? Well, if you have a bizarre story to share, we'd love to hear from you. Contact us on our website, momssipping.sangria.com. Like us on Facebook or follow us on Instagram and Twitter.
We are Mom Sipping Sangria.
Time to go to confession with Sangria Secret, where you come clean on something that you've been hiding away.
Okay, Anita, spill it. Not the sangria, the secret.
The secret. Okay, so this goes back like a long time, Sheila. This goes back to when I was 5 turning 6. What happened was we were talking about middle names and where people got their middle names from. And we were going down the list of family members and stuff. And then we stopped at my youngest sister, Adele. Adele, like I said, is almost 6 years younger than me. So when my mom was pregnant, we, as a family, we sat down. We were trying to toss around middle names, and I thought it was really nice. But they were asking me for my feedback and what kind of names I liked as a middle name. So I said, "How about Crystal?" I was totally into, I don't know if you remember this, Sheila, but Crystal Gale.
Yes, long hair.
Right?
She was so
She had
beautiful.
Super long hair that went right down to her knees. I'd never seen anything like it. And I just was so enamored by that Crystal was the name at the time. So then they were like, "No, can't do that one." They said, "You got another name?" And I thought, well, Crystal has a sister, and I'm going to be a sister second time. So then I said, "How about Loretta?" And that was Crystal Gale's sister, Loretta Lynn.
Right.
So 5-year-old brain, it was, well, we wouldn't say Loretta. We would call her Lori, because there was a kid in my class called Lori, and she was super cool. But my parents actually liked the name Loretta, so we went with Adele Loretta. So Adele, if you didn't know that, you know it now.
She knows it now.
And I hope you like it.
Okay, well, that ends another episode of Mom Sipping Sangria, and we thank you for letting us hang out with you. And we really dug Cheryl Strachan's advice today, right, Anita? She was really great.
Oh, absolutely. She was terrific.
And we hope you're staying well and healthy, and hopefully taking a moment here and there to breathe as well. We're all kind of being, as you know, forced into a bit of downtime. So go with it, because before you know it, life will be crazy and busy and noisy again. So before we go, though, we are going to leave you with the end quote. Anita, you ready? Who said this? "A real girl isn't perfect, and a perfect girl isn't real."
Ooh, that's good. I think I'm going to tape that to my fridge.
Yeah.
Tina Fey.
Harry Styles.
No way, darling. That's Ava's favorite right now.
You know what? When I saw that, I thought, I wonder if she is going to know it, because I'm pretty sure that Harry Styles is a pretty popular dude in your household.
Oh,
but
yeah.
So if she didn't love him enough before, she'll love him even more now with that quote. That's it for now. Till next time, have a good one.
Have a good one. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
We are Moms Sipping Sangria.
Okay, and I'm Anita. Okay. Uh-oh.
Oh, there you are. You good?
Oh, okay.
Okay. Seriously?
Yeah, no, you were frozen too.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Have a good one. Have a good one. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
We are Moms Sipping Sangria.
I gotta go get a sangria. Holy crap.
Okay. For sponsorship opportunities, email us at momssippingsangria@gmail.com. Mom Sipping Sangria is produced by Elm Podcasting.
Cha-cha-cha.
Keep going.
Woohoo. Okay. Hello.
Yeah.